Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm doing a quick video on how to beat security control in the BT5 format. There's a few tips that if more people followed, they would win in this matchup a lot more. The deck is pretty frustrating to play against if you play it straight up, but if you change the way you play and you understand security control's win conditions and how to not handshake into them, then you will see a lot more success. So, first of all, don't play into their win condition for sure. They have a couple key cards that you can definitely play around. We'll go over them in the rest of this video, but for now, just remember to leave them at 4 security, draw as little as possible, and be smart with your attack order. If you keep those 3 things in mind, then you will win a lot more against this deck than you probably already have been if you're one of those people who gets super frustrated against this deck. So just to go a little bit more in depth, leave them at 4 security, and the reason why you want to do this is because it turns off their Magnadramon, which is their strongest heal. It's a +2 on play, and then the Magnadramon itself, when it attacks, they can drop a level 3 from their hand for free, which is going to be the Lucamon, which also gives them a free heal. So security control players will be really greedy with their Magnadramons. They won't play them unless they have 3 or less security, even if they're like holding on to Lucamons in their hand. So if you leave them at 4, those are going to be dead cards in their hand. And that's really what you want against that deck. You want to make as many of their cards dead as possible. And the way you want to keep them at 4 is in the early game, they're going to be dropping Magna Angemons and Holy Waves. So use your little cheap free guys to just chip in free damage, cards that you don't really care if you lose to a random fucking Gaia Force or Ultimate Flare. So yeah, just the rookies you digivolve on top of your eggs. You can hard play some rookies and then just get little chips in, get through their early heals. At the beginning of the game, sometimes they can go to 6, even 7 security with Magnas and Holy Waves. So just get them to 4, and then once you see that they kind of run out of heals, start going as wide as possible. This is probably one of the biggest things I don't see people do, is that they're afraid to hard drop their higher level cards, because against traditional decks, when you hard drop and you give decks 7, 8, 9, 10 memory, they will come back and they will absolutely shit on you, which, is understandable. We're all used to playing the game that way. But security control is more of a Mega Zeus type style deck where they can't really gain advantage off of being given a lot of memory, because a lot of their plays is just playing one high cost option back at you. So really the most they can do is trade 1 for 1. If you say I'm playing green and I drop a Nidhoggmon, just hard cast it for 13, the most they can do back to me is probably Gaia Force it or Transcendent Sword if they have a Omnimon on their board. But that's it. Most times that Nidhogg is going to stick on the board. So don't be afraid to hard drop your guys, and once you get 6 attacks on the board, so you just go as wide as possible. So remember, you want them at 4 security, and then you want to establish at least 6 attacks. So that way, if they have some other bullshit in their security, like another random Gaia Force, or, they ultimate flare one of your attacks off, you at least have 2 more insurance attacks to be able to finish the game on that turn. You don't want to give them the opportunity to pass to their turn and then they can heal and get more options in their security, because that's where you're going to have a bad time, and that's where a lot of people get frustrated playing against this deck. All right, next thing to keep in mind, you want to draw as little as possible. Decking out is definitely a very real win condition for security control. It's the most frustrating thing when you're just fucking grinding card for card against them, and then because you're playing standard and drawing all your cards from digivolving, and they're pretty much the only draw they have is the one draw they have for their turn, you're gonna lose the deck out race every time if you play that way. So that kind of goes back to the concept from the last slide, which was hard playing your cards. If you hard cast your 4s, 5s, and 6s, you're not going to be drawing for digivolving, which means that you will be kind of on the same pace as a security control deck in terms of card draw. Obviously, you still want to digivolve over your egg. You get your free draw off of that. If your hand is a little bricked out, you can't really brick against security control, because again, you actually want to hard play your cards anyways. But if there's certain cards you need to see, you can digivolve a little bit. Try to get some draws and cycle your hand a bit, but just don't go crazy with it. Maybe turn up level 5 into level 6. turn a blocker into attack so you don't lose memory when you swing. But that's really the most you want to do. Other than that, just go wide. All right. And then the last thing to keep in mind is to be smart with your attack order. Ultimate Flare is definitely a really bullshit card, especially when you check it in security, but you can play around it. So the way the card works is that they choose one of your stacks and they digivolve 3 on it. So they can turn a level 6 into a level 3, which is annoying in and of itself. And the second part of the card is that they then delete all of your Digimon that cost 3 or less, which is pretty much all your rookies anyways. So if you have a wide board of just rookies, you're going to get wiped by Ultimate Flare, and it's going to feel really bad. So again, that goes back to the concept of hard playing your cards. If you have a level 4, or a level 5, level 6, and that's like your whole board, just 4s, 5s, and 6s, Ultimate Flare does nothing to you. If you have a level 6, but you digivolved it on top of a level 5 and it doesn't have a stack underneath that, they're going to Ultimate Flare it and then it's going to do nothing. It's just going to fizzle. So remember, hard playing your cards, it's a different concept than playing traditionally, but it will win you the game. Trust me. And then the other card you kind of want to play around when you're attacking is Transcendent Sword. So if they have a Zwart, right, any Omnimon or Greymon, they don't play Greymons, but yeah, if they have an Omnimon, they can delete any Digimon with 15,000 DP or less, which is pretty much anything you're going to be swinging with. But if they don't have an Omnimon, then they can only delete something with 11,000 or less. So you want to keep that in mind. So if they don't have an Omnimon, it's okay to swing with your 11,000s first. So that way, if they hit a Transcendent Sword, then they can only kill the thing that already attacked. So they're not getting value off of it. That's a really good thing to keep in mind. And then lastly, you want to swing with your blockers because they lose memory when you attack with them. So that's going to be like your very, very last attacks. So that way you don't risk accidentally passing the turn over to them. So again, it's you swing with your tallest stack that still has a level 3 in it. That way, if you hit an Ultimate Flare and they digivolve your stack, you already attacked with it. So you got value off of it. After that, you swing with all your 3 costs or less, which is pretty much going to be all your rookies. Again, so that way if you hit Ultimate Flare, at least you got already value off your rookies because they attacked already. Then, if they have a Zwart, you just swing in order of your highest DP to lowest DP because a Transcendent Sword is going to kill anything no matter what. If they don't have a Zwart, then save everything that's over 11,000 DP for last and then swing with your 11,000s or less first. So that way, again, if they hit the Transcendent Sword, you still get value because you already attacked with the Digimon they can target. And lastly, again, swing with the blockers because you lose memory when they attack. So there's obviously other things in their security they can hit that are kind of lame. If they hit a Gaia Force, you can't really play around that. It's going to delete anything no matter what. So that's why, again, going back to the last slide, we go wide. So that way we ensure at least 6 attacks against their 4 security. So even if they do hit that Gaia Force, we still have the extra attack in so we can go for game. So, as long as you keep these things in mind and you, again, switch up the way you play, think of it like almost like a different game. You're not digivolving your stacks as you normally would. Hard play your cards, get as many attacks in on the board as you can, and then swing. And if you do those things, I promise you will be much more successful in this matchup. I'm going to post a video next on my channel of a full gameplay of me playing green against a good security control player. You're going to see a lot of these concepts in action. For the most part, I follow my own rules. I do make some misplays, and I will point them out, and then you'll see why it's a misplay and why these rules are in place and why they do work. So stick around. That'll be uploaded soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Keep this in mind next time you play against security control. I promise you'll have a much better time.